The morning sun filtered through the blinds of our old family home, casting soft stripes across the kitchen table where Dad sat with his coffee. The aroma of roasted beans mingled with the crisp April air drifting in from the open porch door. It was April 7th, 2025, a day that started like any other in our quiet suburban neighborhood of Oakwood Heights until it didn't. My younger brother, Liam, was upstairs, tethered to his ventilator, a machine that had become as vital to him as his own lungs since a car accident 3 years ago left him paralyzed from the chest down. We'd moved back to this house, our childhood haven, because it was one of the few places we could adapt for his needs. Wider doorways, a custom bathroom, and, most crucially, a medical access ramp that curved gently from the driveway to the front door. That ramp was Liam's lifeline, a bridge for paramedics to rush through when his breathing faltered, which it did more often than any of us liked to admit. Dad glanced up from his newspaper, his brow furrowing. "That's odd," he murmured, setting his mug down with a soft clink. "No one's doing road work around here." I joined him at the porch railing, peering out as the low rumble of engines grew louder. 3 hulking cement trucks, their yellow bodies glinting in the morning light, rolled down our street and came to a deliberate stop, blocking not just our driveway, but the entire medical access ramp. Dust swirled in their wake, settling like a bad omen. Then I saw Her Margaret Voss, the HOA president, striding across our lawn in a tailored navy blazer and heels that sank into the grass with every step. Her platinum hair was impeccable, her smile as sharp as a blade. "Good morning, Tom," she called to Dad, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. "Just a heads up, the HOA's doing some essential maintenance today. These trucks will be here for, about 10 hours. She glanced at her sleek smartwatch, as if the time were a minor detail. Dad's face tightened. "Margaret, you know Liam's condition. We need that ramp clear for emergencies. This can't happen." Her smile didn't waver, but her eyes turned to ice. "Rules are rules, Tom. We sent notices about this last month. It's just a temporary inconvenience." That was a bald-faced, Lid never received a single notice, but before Dad could argue, she tapped her tablet with a manicured nail. "Speaking of rules, that ramp of yours? Never properly approved by the review board. We'll need to schedule its removal." I felt a surge of disbelief, hot and sharp. "Removal?" I stepped forward, my voice rising. "That ramp keeps my brother alive. We submitted the paperwork 4 times. Margaret waved a dismissive hand. "Paperwork gets misplaced. You know how it is. Oakwood Heights is a premium community appearance standards matter. This isn't a care facility." Her tone was smooth, practiced, like she'd rehearsed this little speech in front of a mirror. This wasn't our first run-in with Margaret. She'd find us last fall for the wheelchair lift on the porch, calling it an unsightly modification. Before that, it was the extra parking space we'd paved for Liam's van and other violation. Each time, we'd file the forms. Each time, they vanished into the HOA's black hole. Our neighbors, the Garcias, had warned us when we moved back. She's got a vendetta against anyone who doesn't fit her perfect little mold. Mrs. Garcia had whispered over the fence. The Hendersons moved out after she harassed them over their son's oxygen tanks. Said it lowered property values. Dad stepped off the porch, his shoulders squared. "I'm asking the drivers to move. We'll sort this out later." He approached the first truck, where a driver in a faded ball cap leaned out the window, looking uneasy. Margaret's gaze followed him, her lips thinning. I pulled out my phone. Hitting record, something told me we'd need evidence. The driver glanced between Dad and Margaret, who stood with her arms crossed, radiating authority. "Look, man, I've got orders," he said, holding up a clipboard. I zoomed in. Her address was scrawled in bold marker, not the vacant lot down the street where actual repairs were slated. This wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated move. "Please," Dad said, his voice steady but edged with desperation. "My son could die if an ambulance can't get through." The driver hesitated, his fingers drumming on the steering wheel, but Margaret made a sharp gesture, hand slicing across her throat, and he slumped back, shaking his head. Dad turned to her, his face flushed. "You're doing this on purpose. This isn't about rules, it's about pushing us out." Margaret's smile vanished. She stepped forward, her heels clicking, and then before I could process, it shoved Dad. Hard. My 67-year-old father stumbled backward, hitting the grass with a thud that echoed in my chest. His palms scraped the ground, blood welling up as he caught himself. I dropped my phone and ran to him, fury boiling over. "Are you insane?" I yelled, helping Dad up. "That's assault." Margaret adjusted her blazer, unfazed. Self-defense. He was interfering with HOA business. My assistant has it all on camera. She nodded to a man across the street, snapping photos with a professional-grade lens. "The trucks stay. Consider this a lesson in compliance." Inside, a faint beep pierced the air. Liam's ventilator alarm. His oxygen levels were dropping, a morning episode kicking in. Panic clawed at me as I grabbed my phone again, dialing 911. "We need an ambulance now," I told the dispatcher, my voice shaking. "Trucks are blocking our ramp. Send something small, please." "They'll try side streets," the dispatcher said. "ETA's 30 minutes. 30 minutes? Dad whispered, pressing a towel to his bleeding hands as we stumbled inside. Liam's monitor flashed red 88% and falling. "He doesn't have that long." Margaret lingered outside. Now perched on a folding chair she'd pulled from her car, scrolling her phone with a smugness that made my skin crawl. I didn't know what else to do, so I called my older sister, Claire. She didn't pick up straight to voicemail. "Claire, it's me. Margaret's gone crazy, blocked Liam's ramp with cement trucks, shoved Dad. He's crashing, and the ambulance can't get through. Help us, please." I had no idea Claire was already in motion. She wasn't just our big sister. She was Claire Ramsey, deputy chief of the FBI's Organized Crime Division, and she'd been 2 hours away, wrapping up a sting operation, when she decided to swing by for an unannounced visit. She'd heard my message en route and floored it. 20 agonizing minutes later, a black Suburban screeched to a stop behind the trucks. Claire stepped out, her FBI windbreaker catching the breeze, badge gleaming at her hip. Her dark hair was pulled back, her expression all business. "Federal agent," she barked. "Move these trucks now." The drivers scrambled, engines roaring to life as they shifted aside. Margaret leapt up, her chair toppling. "You can't do this. This is HOA jurisdiction." Claire flashed her credentials without breaking stride. "Deputy Chief Ramsey, FBI. You're obstructing emergency accessa, federal offense. Assaulting my father and endangering my brother's life? We'll get to that too. Step aside." Margaret sputtered, her face blanching. "This is harassment." "Shove my dad again," Claire said, her voice low and lethal. "And you'll see harassment. Right now, I'm saving my brother. We'll talk at your booking." She dialed her team, requesting backup, as paramedics finally rushed up the ramp with a stretcher. Liam's lips were tinged blue, but they got him oxygen just in time. While Claire kept Margaret pinned with a stare, I caught snippets of her phone call. Probable cause warrants corruption case. It hit Med here was more to this than one HOA tyrant. Liam stabilized at the hospital that night, but the real storm was just beginning. The next morning, Claire sat at our kitchen table, her laptop glowing with files. "This isn't isolated," she said, sipping coffee I'd brewed too strong. "Margaret's HOA's been on our radar for a year, part of a statewide probe into corruption and discrimination. She's targeted disabled residents, forced them out, and flipped their homes to shell companies tied to her allies. Yesterday gave us the break we needed." "You were already onto her?" I asked, stunned. "Tips from other communities," she said. "Fines for medical equipment, blocked access ramps, extortionate fees, same pattern. We just needed hard evidence. Now we've got it." Her phone pinged. Search warrants have been served at Margaret's home, her office, and the HOA headquarters. Photos streamed in, agents carting out boxes, computers, even a locked safe. Then the doorbell rang. It was Mrs. Patel, our neighbor 2 doors down, leaning on her cane. "I saw everything yesterday," she said, her voice trembling. "Margaret did it to me, to parked a dumpster across my driveway for a week when I needed home nursing after my stroke. I was too scared to fight her." Claire handed her a card. "Well, listen. Tell us everything." Word spread fast. By noon, Our living room was a makeshift confessional. The Kim family spoke of fines for their daughter's sensory, swing deemed an eyesore. Mr. Ellison, a Vietnam vet, recounted how Margaret threatened liens over his therapy dog. Widow Mrs. Carter broke down, describing how Margaret's landscaping project blocked her garage for days, stranding her with a broken hip. Each story fueled Claire's case and our resolve. That afternoon, my phone buzzed Mom at the hospital with Liam. Some woman's here, saying she's inspecting Liam's room for HOA compliance. Security's holding her. Claire was out the door before I finished relaying it, calling in agents to detain Margaret, who'd clearly lost all sense of self-preservation. By dawn the next day, arrests rolled out like thunder. Margaret, the HOA board, 2 council members, and a zoning official in her pocket. News choppers buzzed overhead as agents raided her pristine Tudor home, hauling out evidence of a $3 million embezzlement scheme dues funneled to fake contractors, kickbacks from developers, and a handwritten list of problem residents, Liam's name circled in red. The cement company owner confessed she'd paid him $10,000 to target our ramp, spinning it as a neighborly disagreement. Liam came home that evening, his wheelchair humming down the ramp Margaret had fought to destroy. Neighbors greeted him, kids waved, no longer shying away from the guy with the tubes. The fear that had silenced Oakwood Heights for years was cracking open. An emergency meeting Claire facilitated, we dissolved the old HOA, forming a new council with a charter prioritizing accessibility. The first act, a neighborhood-wide emergency access protocol. Margaret's trial loomed, with prosecutors piling on charges: racketeering, assault, civil rights violations. Dad, his hands still bandaged, faced a reporter's mic and said simply, "I just wanted my son to breathe." That quote hit every headline, a quiet plea that roared louder than Margaret's reign ever had. Yesterday, I watched Liam wheel himself outside, sunlight catching the scars on his hands, marks of a fight he never chose. The cement trucks were gone, replaced by a community stitching itself back together, one story at a time. Margaret had meant to break us, but she'd only made us stronger. If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.